Turning to Taiwan politics, the country's two biggest opposition parties are comparing poll results to decide which of their candidates will run for president in January. In a historic agreement reached earlier this week, the Kuomintang and Taiwan People's Party said that they would run a joint ticket. Today, three nominated experts will convene to decide who comes out on top, the KMT's Hoyoyi or the TPP's Ko-wen-ze. But the process for deciding whose candidate gets top billing is far from transparent. To find out more about how the winner is going to be decided, Ed Moon spoke to political analyst Ross Feingold.
Can you explain to us what this polling policy between the Kuomintang or Chinese Nationalist Party and the Taiwan People's Party actually involves? What's the process for them to select their candidate?
Basically, the Kuomintang or Nationalist Party candidate will get to propose a polling expert. The Taiwan People's Party candidate will get to propose a polling expert. And Ma Ying-jeou, as the supposedly neutral arbitrator here or mediator, he'll get to propose a polling expert. And the polling experts are going to review various polls from the previous 10 days about whether the public prefers Ko-wen-je of the Taiwan People's Party or Hoyoyi of the Chinese Nationalist Party. And who's ever ahead in a poll gets a point. And if it's within the margin of error, they'll each get a point. And then I guess the intention is that whoever has more points based on the polls that they have looked at will be declared the presidential candidate, and the other gentleman will have to be the vice presidential candidate.
Taiwan's former president Ma Ying-jeou was heavily involved in brokering this deal. He was also a KMT president, a lifetime member of the KMT. What exactly does he have to gain from getting involved, and why was he seen as a neutral arbiter in this?
Probably he was chosen as the neutral mediator because there is a lack of other people. I mean, Taiwan society just lacks that kind of individual. There are very few people one could point to and say this person is the ideal neutral party to arbitrate between two political parties. And the moment someone does so, then they become a political figure themselves. So finding somebody who was not tainted by politics to then mediate this process, then they would be identified as somebody who wants to help the Nationalist Party and the Taiwan People's Party to beat the Democratic Progressive Party. So it is inherently a political mediation process. And that actually relates to your second question. Why would Ma Ying-jeou want to do this? What's the incentive? And that's pretty simple. He wants the DPP to lose.
The results are due to be announced on Saturday. What do you think the chances are that there'll be some kind of a dispute? And do you think both parties are likely to stick to the agreement?
So the two sides are hoping that they won't have disputes. I think we could only assume that. And you're correct in asking this question because it does leave some wiggle room for one of the gentlemen to say, no, that's not what I intended. So the whole agreement is not applicable anymore, and I'm walking away. So there still is that possibility, but I guess we'll only know the level of respect for the polling experts and for Ma Ying-jeou's mediating role on Saturday when they have their meeting to go over the data.
Who do you think is likely to come out on top at the end of the day in this polling?
It's hard to say because there have been so many polls, and Hoyoyi of the Nationalist Party, Kuomintang, and Ko-wen-je of the Taiwan People's Party. Some polls have them neck and neck. Some polls have Ko aheads. There's been polls that show Ho ahead. But just looking at the totality of polls over the past, say, 6 months, typically Ko-wen-je does poll higher than Hoyoyi.
That was our reporter Ed Moon speaking to political analyst Ross Feingold.